Hey, what's up guys? This is Jay at jtradinglive.com. Just taking a moment here to make a video during the live trading day where we're breaking down charts and pointing out stock setups during the course of the trading day, live, real time. So pop on by, check us out at jtradinglive.com. Here's a couple stocks that I'm looking at setting up for the rest of the week. Let's just move in here to okay. We'll zoom in here. This is symbol EWY. This is South Korea capped index. Don't trade this a whole lot, and you can see it kind of gaps a lot. But anyway, I just wanted to show you this, what I was looking at here. This is Stochastics, and this is a signal that I created myself based off of a Stochastics and a signal line that I created. What I look for in this is the stock to pull back, which EWY is doing. It's pulling back nicely. The stochastics are pulling back nicely. And what I would look for is a smooth crossover in the stochastics. Like it did here, or like it did here. A nice smooth crossover. And I would look for the blue line to come launching out of here and cross the orange signal line at the same time that the stochastics are crossing here. And what would be ideal is if we can get that to happen somewhere right around the trend line here, or we can adjust the trend line a little bit there, just seeing where it kind of falls in. We've also got our 200 EMA coming in right underneath us, so ideally, we can get all of that support to kind of line up. Bounce off there, stochastics turning back up, the blue line crossing the orange line at the same time, and that would be a really nice setup for a great trade to go long with. Let's take a look at another symbol. This is Harris Corporation, symbol HRS. Again, oops, delete that. Again, let's zoom in here a little bit. So again here, we've got this similar situation. The stock's pulling back. Like to get a nice cross on the stochastics, a good smooth cross like we have here. And the blue line again launching up, crossing the orange signal line at the same point that the stochastics are crossing. We don't have any major support down here. Let's zoom back out and see if we have anything relevant. Yeah, okay, we've got a nice little horizontal support here, touched, held as resistance here, bumped up against it, had a nice candlestick through it, so we're breaking out there. And we haven't tested it again, so this would be a good, good spot to look for if we can get the stock to fall down about another $1.30, get the stochastics crossing, get the blue line coming up through the orange line. That would make for a nice trade there. Let's check out Lazard, symbol LAZ. Let's check out what we have going on here. All right, here we're setting up for a different kind of indicator here on this stochastic with the signal line. So we've got what I call a V formation. You may have seen some of my videos in the past where I talk about this V that plays out down here and the orange signal line crossing through that V. The orange line moving up with upward momentum is showing the stock has a little bit of upward bias to it already. So you get a little pullback. Here we've got a little trend line that we've drawn. We're drawing it here because it seems to have a lot more touch points, even though a lot of people would draw their trend line from here on that candle, and you're waiting for the stock to pull back here. It may, but you can see we're falling through a little bit today, but we're also holding the 20 EMA right there. So some people would draw it there, and the stock may get to that point. It might, but it might not, and you might miss a trade on that stock due to your trend line being not in the right place. So here, the reason I drew it here is it's catching this gap. It's catching the bottom of the gap from here to here. So it's got Got your points here, it's catching the bottom of the gap there, and you can see it continues to hold there. Today falling through, but also holding on the 20 EMA. So we'll continue to watch that. And what we would look for is, draw another little horizontal support there. You see it's held there a few times. So ideally what would happen is the stock may continue to fall on through. This would fall down, it would turn back up when the price starts to turn back up, and we'll get the orange line crossing back through there. Stochastics turning back up, and you could take a trade, from wherever it hits here up to looking to get out when it punches against this resistance now. Let's take a look at NGLS. Zoom in here. So a similar idea here with the V starting to set up down here, the orange signal line crossing through it. I mean, you just have to imagine this at this point. You have to imagine where it's going. It's not there. The next few days will either fulfill this pattern or it will negate the pattern. But these are things that I look for in stocks that I want to keep an eye on during the week. We're already a little oversold up here on the stochastics, so ideally what would happen is the stock would pull on back to this trend line. We get a little further pullback here, and then we'll get a bounce off that trend line, and at the same time this indicator is going to be cutting through the other side of that V, showing us an entry point. If we pulled on back, of course the stochastics are also going to pull back, and we would be looking for them to turn up while this is turning up and running through. So you've got some support down here. You've also got the 20. If this continues to fall back, the 20 is going to probably coincide. So if you can get the 20 coinciding with the trend line, with the stochastic here turning back up, the signal line cutting through it, and the stochastic turning up, that's going to be a real nice entry point for Targa Resources, symbol NGLS. Let's look at panel. PANL, Universal Display Corp. What we have here is a failure to communicate. What we have here is a little down trend line. You can see we started up here at the top of this move, and we've held, and we finally broke through there several days ago. So we broke through there, we got a little push up, and now we're getting a pullback. We've got a pullback right to this down trend line, and you can see that it's right at the 20 EMA. It's also right at the 200 EMA. We pushed up against it today, and now we're coming off it. So it held a few days ago. It looks like it's holding today. It's 2 o'clock on Tuesday, the 12th of March, 2013. So let's zoom back out. And we would look for, possibly tomorrow or the day after, is this to turn back up, the signal line moving right through it or either right underneath it, and the stochastics possibly turning back up. We're already kind of high up there, but stochastics can stay, overbought for long periods of time. So that's not a big worry. What I really like is that we would, at that point, be bouncing off the trend line. We've got the 20 and the 200 right underneath us, and we're turning up on our signal here, creating the V formation with the orange signal line running through it. So that would be a trade that I would look for. Rackspace, RAX. We have had a pretty significant pullback. That was probably either earnings or earnings warning that knocked us off of there. And you can see we're starting to get a little bit of support here. We fell through but pushed all the way back up and actually closed right above this support. Held, and now we started moving off of it. And now we're pulling back to it. Again, we've got this potential to create our favorite little V signal here with the orange signal line running through it. We're going to have a little bit of positive stochastic divergence up here where we've got a low, a low here, and a low here, and we're coming back to make an equal low here, but we've got a much higher low on the stochastic. So that's showing a little upward momentum bias to it already. So if we can get this a play here to get an up day, possibly tomorrow or the day after, an up day where our signal line is going to cross through the other side of this V, kind of like similar to this right here. I would consider that the V signal with the stochastic line crossing through. I'm sorry, the signal line crossing through. So another stock we're going to keep our eye on. Here's a trade on Synaptics that we took several days ago, and I'll show you what we. And look at that, man! It is up $1 today. That is awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to take this line off because I didn't have this line there before. And you can see we're in a little bit of a channel here. We had a nice gap up, and we pulled back to this recent support here, not necessarily closing the window of the gap, but closing the window to the highest point of the gap. And then we moved up, and we found some resistance here. We bounced back down. We tested support. Support held. We came back up. We're testing resistance again, and we got our 20 coming right underneath us. We hold support one last time. Now we open up above the 20, and bam, we break out of this little channel right here on this candle. And that's where we got in, right on the V signal, signal line moving through the V moving back up over the 80, verifying this move. We're right under the 20. We're breaking out of the channel. So that was a perfect entry for us right there at any point above this breakout on this candle right here. And what happened next was we gapped open, we started pulling back, and this is possibly getting rid of some of the weak hands holding the stock. It's like, hey, we broke out, so people are starting to jump into this trade, and the professionals are pulling it back, saying, "Oh no, it's false. It's and so people are jumping out. They're handing over their stocks. Again, on this day, the next day, we opened right at the support line. We've again spent most of the day falling through. I don't believe it started coming back until close to 3 o'clock. So again, you're just emptying out these hands of people that don't have enough belief in this move of this breakout. They're saying, "Oh, it should be going up. What's the problem? I'm getting out of this trade. This doesn't look good." Then, of course, the candle moves back up, and then the next few days, bam, we're launching. We got rid of all the weak hands in there. So we're launching on up, and I had this other line drawn in here as to where I would suggest taking profits on the stock is your next little piece of resistance, which is right here, or at least pulling half of your trade off the table, and then you can kind of see where you want the other half to go. But you've made a good solid move. You're up about $1.50 at this point on a $36 entry. So really nice trade there. DSW is a trade that got into yesterday based on a similar premise of that, and I'm not going to hide it from you. It's not doing spectacular today, but I am hoping the same situation that I showed you in SYNA, Synaptics, is kind of playing out. Let me just make this a better color line. So we had our V signal here, right down here. We had our V signal verified on this candle as we're breaking through this support line here, or resistance line that's held pretty nicely over the course of a few months, since December, since the gap up really. And we've got the V crossing. Our stochastics are overbought, which is not great, but not terrible either. Like I said, they can stay overbought for long periods of time, so it's not a huge worry. It just, I wouldn't go all into this trade. But I like the setup. Today we opened up above the support line, and you can see we've just been falling all the way down all day. Now we do seem to be holding the 20 period EMA, which is a good sign, because hopefully what's going on here again is a flushing of the weak hands holding the stock. You know, people who are playing this breakout and now, oh goodness, the breakout is not fulfilled. You know, we must exit our trade. So, you know, we'll see what happens here with the 20. I'm not going to let it fall all the way down to support here. I'm going to keep an eye on what it does at the 20, but so far at 2 o'clock today, it's still holding there. So hopefully we're going to get the V, and you see we got another pullback, and we can also get what's called a W, where we push back up with another V, you know, making the W, and that's a really strong indicator that we've got some nice momentum. So hopefully I'd look for an up day tomorrow. It doesn't have to be a huge up day. It's just got to be enough of an up day to show us that this W is playing out. If we get another down day tomorrow, or if it just continues to fall you know, badly today, which I doubt it will, then we'd exit the trade. But anyway, you know, disappointed that it's not off to the races today, but also encouraged that it's holding the 20. And we'll see what happens with that in the days to come. Toll Brothers, TOL. Again, just another stock we've got to wait a couple days on to set up here. But we've got a nice little uptrend line. We're pulling back. We've got the signal line here showing us you know, an upward bias even though we're pulling back. And hopefully we can get this blue signal line to turn around and give us a nice V that the signal line cuts right through. And we can get a turn up on the stochastics. And hopefully that would be happening at about the same point where this trend line is going to meet price, and would be a great entry there. So those are a few things I'm looking at in the days ahead. Always finding new trades every day, going through, you know, countless amounts of stocks, breaking down charts for the viewers, and pointing out high probability setups with the trades. And you guys just come on by jtradinglive.com. I'm here all day during market hours. You can drop a message in the chat room if you want me to check out a stock and break it down for you, or just hang out with us. All right, I appreciate it. You guys trade smart.